That's how you get it to flow naturally.
Honestly, like,
And
I'm just thinking,
our editor,
like,
the editor will fix it anyway.
Yeah, we all.
Well, that's just rude, dude.
They're gonna hear this.
Look, Fenn loves getting his call outs.
We love you, Fenn.
I'm sure, but I feel like that's a little too direct, like out of the gate. That's just rough, man. Like, here I am. I'm just wanting to talk about how I think Captain Boomerang's an absolute mad lad for taking on the Flash with nothing but boomerangs. But here you are.
That man is definitely something.
I'm just saying, like, dude, like in D&D, like boomerangs all over the place. Very underutilized weapon because, like, you got the damage and the dual wielding capacity of daggers, but at range. But the only benefit to using them is if you miss, they come back. But if you hit them, it's basically you threw a fucking stick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't imagine them being that good.
Maybe if you're like an artificer, because then you can give them
like.
Well, if you play artificer, you could put a thing on them, and then they get a +1, and then they come back after a hit. All right, like that's a start.
But then, is it even the boomerang? It's the artificer making them good.
I mean, yeah. But what if you had like a whole bunch of boomerangs, like Ty the Tasmanian Tiger?
What if you had a bunch of artificers?
Okay, so we're just going to throw a bunch of gnomes at the enemy. Like, we just got pocket gnomes.
Pocket gnomes.
Yeah, it's like the new pocket sand.
It's not racist, right?
Nah. Are gnomes a race?
Yes.
Oh.
They're some
yes,
race.
they actually are.
No, they're a race.
Well, to avoid any racial tension, I'm going to just start the show. Welcome to Dungeons and Talkshows, the talk show that brings you dungeons, news, and homebrews. I'm thinking I'm forgetting something again. Sam, would you remind me?
One of these days, I will be remembered. I'm here to bring you the monster, alright? Jeez, come on.
I always forget. I think it's the brain damage.
It's all the crack.
Too many boomerangs to the head when I was a child.
That makes a lot of sense. And I bet the people are wondering, there were a few more voices in the cold open.
Oh, well, why don't y'all introduce yourselves to our dear audience?
Well, we're Scott and Kate. I'm Scott. I'm planning on doing some TikToks for video games and such, and she is a writer/artist.
Hell yeah. Nice to have you
Hell
here.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, you guys have been in the Discord for a little bit. Glad to finally have you on the show.
Hey, influencing however we can, helping however we can. And we're very, very, very interested to get a deep dive into the world of D&D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for anyone wondering, Kate was the one that did our new icon on Twitter and Facebook, I believe, right?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I had a hand in it.
With a help from our AI specialist, Forrest, who's also in the Discord, helped digitize it, so he was able to help me platform it out.
Yeah, and you've been doing great work for our social medias and stuff. Glad to have you guys on the team.
Hey, absolutely.
We definitely needed your help.
There's no problem at all. It's actually a lot of fun, inspiring, and creating ambition for nerds all around.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's very exciting.
But to start off with the D&D deep dive, I was very interested to hear about this monster we're going to be talking about, which is a blue dragon.
Yeah. I had you guys give me a choice, and I like blue dragons, and we've been kind of slowly dipping into the dragon scene, as there are a ton of them.
I'm just a big fan of anything involving lightning.
Yeah, and I think blue
Lightning
dragons are
Right.
kind of a good way to kind of dip into the true dragons a little bit. Before we go
It's
too
been a
deep.
long time in coming.
Yeah, we just had the pseudo dragon episode. Before that, we had the dragon turtle.
Ooh.
Moving on to cool things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can go ahead and get into the monster here if you guys would like.
Absolutely.
Please.
All right, so blue dragons, also known as storm dragons, were orderly creatures and are unusual for chromatics in that they keep fairly well-ordered hierarchical societies. Hierarchical. They were more likely to be mocking and manipulative than outrightly cruel and murderous. Aided by their great natural talents for hallucination, they were infamous for tricking desert travelers into drinking sand or going miles out of their way to avoid non-existent dust basins.
That's
breath
kind of
weapon-
hilarious.
I know, right?
It
The
really
breath
is.
weapons was a line of lightning or a large electrical discharge.
Okay, so right off the bat, you described it like it has like an emotions and
Oh yeah.
feelings and like a language almost. I feel like, is there like a
Draconic
civilization
is a
amongst
thing.
these
Oh
dragons?
yeah. So dragons, especially true dragons, are some of the most intelligent creatures to exist. They are experts in magic. They're long-lived and powerful by nature. They do kind of have their own societies. Some of them are a little more interactive than others. Blue dragons are kind of the in-betweens for the chromatics, I think.
Yeah,
And if you can
they're
interact
similar
with them,
and
yeah,
Yeah.
the reds are kind of on the scale of like, you could try, they're probably just gonna kill you. Blues are like, you could maybe, talk to one if you have a good reason.
yeah.
Might not
Blue and
do
green
it.
are the more social of the chromatic dragons, where like
Blacks will
they
like,
like
to kill you
to
on the spot.
manipulate.
I would
Yeah.
love those. I love those situations where someone would go to, he's feeling rollsy, and he just botches at trying to like persuade or talk to a dragon.
Yeah. And dragons are always like legendary resources for, help if you need for some reason. But they're always that like, do you really want to go to this dragon for anything?
Is it ever
Right.
hard or difficult to do so?
It kind of depends on what kind you're dealing with. If you're going to a blue, for example, if you go with them kind of and you're like, I offer you this, in return, I need your help for this. Like, you gotta kind of make it clear. That way they
Formal,
can't like
direct.
manipulate you.
Yeah, like with blues, at least you have like the option of trying to, be somewhat reasonable.
Yeah.
With unlike with greens, where their alignment could be best described as lawful chaotic.
Right. And a little bit further down, I'll get into their social and ecology and stuff like that. But real quick, I wanted to talk about, you may be wondering like what a chromatic dragon is.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So
Yes.
chromatic dragons were a type of dragon distinguished typically by a solid, non-reflective coloring of their scales. They were generally evil, greedy, and predatory, and usually worshipped Tiamat, whom they regarded as their queen. The list of chromatic dragons are as follows. You have your red, green, black, yellow, brown, gray, pink, salt white, and purple.
So I'm guessing these aren't the ones that you can't strike a deal with as easy.
Some of them, so like Orion said, the green and the blues are your most likely to at least give you a moment.
A moment.
A moment.
Yeah,
If you can strike
the-
their interest enough, you are a worthy enough figure for them to recognize.
it can be quite difficult unless you're dealing with something really rare like a pink dragon, where their whole deal is they collect jokes. Like, imagine being a
Right.
being that has been
Oh my
around for
God.
hundreds or thousands of years, and you just have a horde of jokes that you want to unleash upon unsuspecting victims.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you're the only dealings you trade in are good jokes. Like, How the fuck are you going to come up with a good joke to tell a dragon on the spot?
Yeah, you have to make a dragon laugh. Good fucking luck.
He's heard it before, you know?
Yeah, if he's heard it before, it kills you.
10 times out of 10, he kills you? No way!
Like,
Just
oof,
imagine
good luck.
standing there.
Oh
No,
my
wait,
God.
no, wait.
I'm not
I
done
No,
thought
yet.
wait, I got one. Give me another one. Just give me a minute.
You forget
Yeah,
the
with
punchline.
airplane food, am I right?
It was
Over.
airplane food. Oh, no, you get it? No, I'm a dragon. I fly on my own.
So something I think that is really interesting was that it was believed by scholars from Candlekeep, which is a region in Faerun, I believe, that all species of chromatic dragons evolved from the proto-dragon species of the Inficto dragon genus. So those are... How do I explain this? So
Dragon biology.
dragons are not native to the world that they inhabit now, right? So the original dragon that first came to this realm kind of lived for a very, very long time, and then eventually its birth line kind of split into the different kind of ancestral dragons that kind of split into the different geniuses, and then
Kind of.
eventually I'll do an episode into all of that.
Kind of
I
like
mean,
how,
it sounds basically like how giants are in D&D, where
Yeah.
like they have like the main source of their lineage, and then it just kind of like splits, and then before you know it, you have all these different variations that are kind of like elemental in nature.
Right. That's why you get things like drakes, wyverns, hydras, chromatics and metallics, stuff like that.
kind of like how dogs started as wolves and then they
Exactly.
branched out. I see that. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, it goes way
and you
back.
and you mentioned a realm of sorts. So is this like a galaxy of like worlds that D&D takes place in, or is it on a planet, or like is it like fill in the
Multiple
blank kind of
dimensions.
deal? Yeah.
So usually you have the Forgotten Realms, and correct me if I'm wrong, Orion. You have Faerun as like the central kind of continent that most things kind of
Yeah.
happen. Usually you have like the what's it called, the Sword Coast, which is usually like the main place for adventures that people run.
Yeah, that's really just how Wizards of the Coast has been. Like the Wizards of the Coast are going to like the Sword Coast. It just kind of happens that way, you know what I mean? But they have other very popular settings like Greyhawk or Dragonlance. My personal favorite is Eberron, just because
Eberron with the Warforged.
Yeah, like, well, Eberron's very, like, Magitech, you know what I mean? It's like a 1920s kind of almost steampunky magic technology kind of setting.
Right.
And that's just, I love it. It's fun. It's got cars. It's got trains. It's got all the kinds of fun shit.
So these places would be examples of different planets. There is kind of a central universe. You have the Eberron as a planet, you have Faerun. And the way planets and universes work in D&D, we'll talk about realms and stuff in another episode eventually, is you have the bubble that kind of surrounds your universe, encapsulates it and everything within it. You have your different planets, you have your gods, realms, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You have the
It's
bubble
really,
on the outside.
there's a whole lot to it.
Yeah, you have the bubble on the outside, which is the borders of your universe, and everything in between, which would be like space or like dark matter, right? It's called the phlogiston. It's kind of like a magical soup,
All right. All right.
So when you leave your planet, you're basically trying to travel through the phlogiston to wherever you're trying to go.
This went from dragons to Spelljammer and all
I know,
that.
it gets
Like,
it's so much,
10
man. Like,
seconds.
I'm sure most
Yeah.
people are like lost. Like, what the?
Dude, it's a rabbit hole and a half. It really is. Because from what I understand with dragons, like during the lore-wise, like old school, you go back and you got all these gods and primordials, and they kind of like split the plane into like these separate realms, and then you got a primordial plane, and then you got the regular material plane, and the primordial, if someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's was primarily ruled by dragons and such. And dragons at one point in that realm ended up creating Dragonborn and enslaving them to do just basic tasks and things,
sending them out to the different realms and planes to kind of do their.
Well, I from what I think I read something on it once, that there was a big event that led to just a big chunk of a city full of Dragonborn just being outright teleported from that realm into Faerun, and that's where Dragonborn originate from.
Yes, if I remember correctly, it was the result of like an escape plan.
Yeah, because they didn't want to be there. Like, ain't nobody want to be a slave to a dragon. It's bad enough to be a slave. It's even worse to be a slave to something that can roast you without even a second thought.
Yeah, and people have to remember that like dragons that like came from their native plane don't even exist anymore. These dragons, like, they would have been dragons we have now cranked up to like 100. Like, they would have been like world dominating, like world destroying dragons.
So when canonically did the blue dragons come into fruition, or did all of them show up in waves?
It was kind of like waves.
Like the mother dragon giving birth to like Skittles.
Yeah,
evolutionary waves.
It was kind of like that. Yeah, you have the chromatics, and then you kind of have like that line. They all kind of split off into their different colors.
And all of them made their own little civilizations.
Mm-hmm. They all kind of have their own personalities, own societies.
Wow.
Dungeons they all kind of interact with each other's differently.
Dungeons and Dragons is becoming more and more self-explanatory by the name.
It's kind of like introducing an apex predator to an ecosystem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like, I guess you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, half of what makes D&D, like the dragon half, is like it's deep, it's complex, there's tons of shit to it. But you know what? I don't remember the last time as a player I ever actually encountered a dragon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a thing with dragons is they have this like innate like superiority, you know? They know they're not from here. They know they're from something more. Like,
yeah, they just know they're better than everybody, and even the metallic ones have just an attitude about them. They're like, they feel like they're better than you, and they need to be respected and treated like royalty, like nobility at all times.
Yeah, metallics are some of the most social, but they'll still have like that arrogance to them. You know, they're dragons. You'll fucking respect a dragon no matter what. Like, you don't respect a dragon, they'll put you down. Like,
exactly.
They demand the respect for good reason.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, what a tangent. Oh man. So getting back to the description of blue dragons specifically. Blue dragons were physically distinguished by the single large horn protruding from their heads, and also by their ears, which were rather large and furrowed, which is kind of a unique trait to dragons. Most of them don't have, like any definition to their ears or anything. The neck is short and broad with spines growing from it. The tail is thick and bumpy, like that of a crocodile. The wings are more pronounced than that of other species, and they smelled like electricity or sand.
What's the smell of electricity?
It's
ozone.
You
ever smelled electricity? Yeah, like ozone, or like you ever smell like a battery?
So like a battery-smelling alligator-looking dragon.
Yeah, basically.
I would say more like that smell after like you get like an intense lightning thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah, like that, exactly like that. Anytime there would be a blue dragon nearby, it would permeate that smell.
Ooh, that must be fun to do in DM situations where you're like your character gets a thick electric-y smell in your air, and then everyone's like, "Oh god!"
Yeah, that's the thing with dragons. I mean, they do have the natural like pressure of their presence. Like they change the atmosphere just by being around.
Jeez Louise, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, if it were me, I would nickname blue dragons in a setting as glass dragons.
Glass dragons? Don't they already exist?
Well, no, like well, they might. I don't know. There's a dragon for every flavor
Yes,
out
that's
there.
true.
But,
Yeah.
There really is.
but I would nickname the blue dragons glass dragons, especially if you had like a more desert-centric campaign, because the lightning breath. So like, say they make a sweep by, boom, they are glassing that entire area with their breath weapon.
I mean, yeah, but you already kind of have the brown dragon, I believe, that has like a sand breath.
Yeah, but this is straight turning the
But then also, like the
sand
fire
to
dragon could do the
glass.
same thing.
I mean, you could potentially make a homebrew type of thing where it's like a glass realm and
I mean,
then
yeah,
glass dragon.
but I mean, also like by that, right? A fire or a red dragon could, be a glass dragon.
Yeah, technically. I mean, fire
I
isn't
mean,
as hot as
yeah.
electricity, but still.
Ooh, what was that? Hello? Oh, Katie died.
Oh,
and she'll be resurrected.
Yeah, that's fine. Someone get a revivify on her.
yeah, she'll notice.
So
We need a revivify stat.
an adult blue dragon clocks in roughly around 20 feet as a large creature, in mid-30s as a gargantuan. So
Okay.
usually they reach a gargantuan size around the ancient age.
The ancient age. Yeah, so like they do have a lifespan, but it's like I'm imagining it as like god level, right?
The thing
So,
with dragons is they do kind of have a lifespan, but their use of magic makes it very like iffy, and the longer they live, the stronger they get, right? So an ancient dragon is leagues above an adult, that's thousands of years. And a lot of things with dragons is
Yeah.
they'll live, they'll relive those lifetimes and those different lives, and they'll gain more power each time, and it's crazy.
It's just wild, dude, because like once you get into ancient territory, I'd say you're probably ancient if you've gotten to be a dragon that's over like 1,000 years. That's a millennia.
Yeah, and in that range, that's like a dragon could probably fight a low tier god. Like,
I mean, shit. You have a dragon that's over 2 millennia old. In real world time, that's old enough to have eaten Jesus.
True. Oh.
I mean, come on. If you had dragons, you trust and believe the Roman Empire would be feeding people to dragons.
Yeah, oh, definitely. So also, this is pretty cool. A dragon egg could be identified as belonging to a blue by the web of thin blue lines seen when held in front of an intense white light.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was
Dude, that's sick.
So I wonder if the egg is like, if it's like a whitish kind of egg, then it has like the blue web like lines.
I was always thinking kind of like a pale cream color. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like almost yellowish, but like it's just got like a off-white.
At any rate, if you wanted to start on a little side thing, I'm very interested in the 3 different colleges that the Bard offers as supplement. Oh,
Welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
You said the 3 different colleges for the Bard?
yes.
I mean, there are so many different colleges.
Oh,
Dude,
well, I'm
there-
referencing.
There's tons.
All right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So first of all, I was referencing Xanathor's Guide to Everything, which Sam here has been as lovely as to offer me because
Yes,
I'm
yes,
trying to
yes.
get into DMing myself. And the only ones that it really offered, but I'm actually really interested to hear the names of the other colleges, if at all known. But the ones that they offer right here is College of Gilmore, College of Swords, and College of Whispers. College of Whispers is something, as a DP, I am very interested in.
Yeah, here, I can go ahead and tell you a little bit about it right now if you want.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the College of Whispers, it says, most folks are happy to welcome a bard into their midst. College of Whispers uses their advantage. They appear to be like any other bard, sharing news, singing songs, telling tales to the audiences they gather. In truth, the College of Whispers teaches its students that they are wolves among sheep. These bards use their knowledge and magic to uncover secrets and turn them against others through extortion and threats.
Fascinating. So like these are actual like schools,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. These are like real colleges. You go there. I mean,
You go
in
there
the
to learn how to
backstory.
swindle university. I love it.
Yeah, basically. So, what's cool
it's
about
something like that.
yeah? So what's cool about the College of Whispers is at level 3, you gain the ability to make your weapon attacks magically toxic to a creature's mind. This ability is called Psychic Blades. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can expend one of your bardic inspiration to deal an additional 2d6 psychic damage. You only do so once per round on your turn. Psychic damage increases when you reach certain levels. Blah blah blah. You also get words of terror. At 3rd level, you learn to infuse innocent-seeming words with an insidious magic that can inspire terror. If you speak to a humanoid alone for at least 1 minute, you can attempt to seed paranoia and fear into its mind. At the end of the conversation, the target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC, or be frightened of you or another creature of your choice. The target is frightened in this way for 1 hour until it is attacked or damaged, or until it witnesses its allies being attacked or damaged. If it succeeds on a saving throw, the target has no hint that you tried to frighten it. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long or a short rest. Sorry.
So I guess they're not really just like all bark and no bite. There are actually some bards that actually can step into battle and like not just talk crap all day.
Yeah, a lot of bards have a very interesting approach to their combat. You also get things at level 6 and 14 called Mantle of Whispers and Shadow Lore.
Yeah, like there's really the cool thing about Bard is every subclass that you can choose from really helps you fit into kind of like flexing for a role that maybe your party's not having filled.
Yeah.
Like maybe you don't have a melee person for the party. You could switch it up with a little bit more swords and valor because like Bard's a very balanced class. You get some casting, get a little bit of range and
They also have
skills.
they have a very, very wide range of spells too.
They are the jack of all trades
Cool.
class. It's even an ability for them.
Yeah.
What I like about the bard is it introduces an opportunity to be very social within the D&D session itself. Because I do feel like the bard has like a level of charisma that you need to apply to it, and it does make the whole game very entertaining to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the bard in itself is a personality and a persona. You know?
Yes,
you can't be like you can be a passive person and play a bard, but you're not gonna get the most out of playing that bard. You know what I mean?
That is very, very true. I a little fun fact: when I was practicing D&D here and there with my brother, he the D&D campaign that he was running, I played a rogue scout. Little snippet there before we get back on track. You said something about more about the blue dragons, yes?
Oh yeah. Go ahead and get into the ecology and lore here.
Awesome.
So, in the Forgotten Realms, blue dragons were native to arid wastelands and deserts. They made their lairs in underground caves, easily accessible to the dragons, as they could burrow through the ground quite easily. These dragons would fly above their territory, using the bleak landscape and its sparse terrain features as their best chance of spotting opponents. The typical blue dragon lair was dug into one of the towering rock formations that dominate desert landscapes. As with all dragon lairs, the blue dragon's lair would have 2 entrances, one at ground level and hidden by the sand, and one opening onto a high ledge which it would perch and survey its territory.
So these dragons, like the blue dragons specifically, correct me if I'm wrong, but like they could burrow underground as well as fly, or they were just segregated to the ground?
No, they could burrow as well as fly.
That's okay.
Terrifying.
They kind of preferred this environment, you know.
Imagine just like running through the open plains, seeing a dungeon, going 30 feet under, and then that dragon just pops out of the ground. He's like, surprise.
Yeah, he's like, what you guys doing here?
What you guys doing?
You done stepped in the wrong neighborhood.
Yeah, like if you walk into a desert and there's like, you know, those large rock spires, any like knowledgeable player should know that like this could be a dragon's territory.
That's insane. Can a dragon just pop out of the sand if you're too deep in the desert?
Yeah,
Like,
but I mean,
sporadically?
reasonably.
That's insane.
I mean, as a DM, a dragon can pop out of anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I don't imagine that they
Yeah.
would prefer to attack in that way. I think they kind of only do the digging to kind of do their layers and stuff.
Gotta hide their horse.
I don't think they're like swimming through the sand or anything like that.
That's a
ideally,
great
no.
mental image, really.
Just
I
do
know,
the
right?
breaststroke.
Michael Phelps of the desert.
I wonder if the brown dragons do. We'll have to see when we do that episode.
You ever read Dunes?
That'd be
So,
great.
let's see here. Each lair also had a large subterranean cavern with a large pool of water and a sandy beach, which its inhabitant would fuse for drinking and relaxation. Despite their evil nature, blue dragons were actually excellent parents to their young, would rarely leave their eggs unattended. Blue dragon eggs must be buried in warm sand to incubate. Blue wormlings were actually quite cute, but they were quick to taunt any other creature, and even quicker to hunt small desert creatures for food.
How often do they reproduce?
That is an excellent question. Let me find out. There was actually not as much as I was hoping on Blue Dragons this time. I was kind of disappointed.
Really?
Yeah, right?
More reserved, from the sounds.
I mean, they have such long lifespans. They probably only like reproduce
Yeah,
once in a while.
if I do remember, I think most dragons are the same. I think it's usually like maybe like once every few years or so. But I do know like there's a few metallics that mate for life.
And how long do they how long
Oh, here we go. On the dragon life cycle. Let me see here.
Dude, that throws a wrench in the plans of any bard that wants to seduce the dragon. Like, everyone's like, "Oh, I rolled to seduce the dragon," and then
Okay,
they're
so
like,
this
"Okay."
says dragons lay eggs in small clutches, the exact number varying according to the kind of dragon. Females can lay eggs as often as once per year, but rarely do that so frequently. Yeah, I think most dragons like don't really like to mate.
Okay, so they're more social.
Dude, what if a dragon's in a committed relationship?
Most of them would be, yeah, or could be.
Yeah, it's just like, a little fling, a summer fling could last a century.
Yeah.
That is very true in their case.
Right. I also do believe, if I remember correctly, that they can kind of choose not to reproduce if they don't want to. They just kind of can fuck the fuck. Like,
Oh, so recreational.
yeah. Like, I think they are a creature that can take pleasure in it.
So how long before like they release their offspring into the wild, as it were?
Like, how long do they live with them?
Yeah, like how long?
It kind of
do they-
depends. Like, I think with like blues, for example, they will raise them pretty much all the way throughout the wormling stage, which is I think about a year or two, something like that.
Okay.
It makes sense. I mean, they get to
They
be
mature
quite
quickly.
massive.
Let me see here.
So they mature rather quickly.
Yeah, because most dragons will take care of their young, but I do know that like blacks and red pretty much don't.
Not
Well,
surprising.
with most egg-laying creatures, they tend to be kind of ready to go as soon as they pop out of the egg. So taking
Yeah.
the time to take care of their young a few years after coming out of the egg
Mhm.
is kind of a big deal, really.
Like I know for most dragons, they'll kind of like they'll make sure the baby doesn't die immediately, and then like they'll give it some food to like, live for a little bit, and then it'll kind of peace out. Like, 'cause then they're like, if it can't survive on its own, it's not worthy. You know what I mean? It's not a good dragon. Like, it wasn't meant to
Yeah.
survive anyway. Like,
So, yeah, most of them have a Spartan mentality.
yeah, they definitely would. But anyway, yeah, I have a little bit more here. I can get
This
into.
is draconic.
I can get into the Blue Dragon's abilities here.
I mean, outside of the basic lightning and
Lightning.
flybys.
Outside of the basic lighting, they have quite a good decent amount of stuff. So going over the stats here, they are a huge dragon, lawful evil. They have a strength of 25, dexterity of 10, constitution of 23, intelligence of 16, wisdom of 15, charisma of 19.
So with every that's level 1, correct? Or
This would just be an adult blue dragon. Like any
so
dragon.
they're not based on levels. They're based on
Right.
actual like creaturehood. Their
Right,
their
yeah.
evolution.
Right, like stages in
Yeah.
their lives, basically.
Okay.
Just
yeah, sure,
being
sure.
an adult blue dragon is kind of like a base status. You know what I mean?
All right. And I'm guessing all the numbers you listed off, even though they were like in the teens, those are actually very, very daunting numbers.
Right, yeah, I can kind of go over that. So, having a strength of 25, obviously, extremely strong. Dexterity is not very nimble, as it is kind of a huge creature. You can kind of expect that.
Right.
They do have a normal speed, like on the ground, of 40 feet, a burrow speed of 30 feet, and a fly speed of 80 feet. So they are rather fast in the air.
Not
Constitution
something you
of-
wanna-
Oh, yeah, definitely don't fight a dragon in the air.
Dude, dragons are
That's
even
very
faster
tough.
than that because, like, the thing is, that's their fly speed, as in like how fast they can ascend or
Yeah.
accelerate. But the thing is, with a dragon, like any flying creature, falling is a free action.
Yeah.
And
Does it require
You can-
a lot of exertion?
exactly, so you can pick up a lot of velocity.
Yeah, and
Just
do keep
off
in
of-
mind. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, just that,
Yeah, and do keep in mind that, like, when I say these 40 feet, 30 feet, 80 feet, this is 80 feet in 6 seconds. Like, you
They're
know?
applying like real world
Wow.
time and laws of physics into this.
In
D&amp stats.
right, so in combat, you have your rounds and your turns. Every action is 6 seconds. Every time you do
Yeah.
something, relatively, it's 6 seconds to do that action.
Yeah,
That
but
goes
that
for
6
each
seconds
player.
for them is the equivalent of walking.
Yeah, like that'd be them walking like 80 feet. In
Yeah. Walking 80 feet vertically
I guess yeah.
or in any direction for that
They're
matter.
insanely fast. So they also have the 23 Constitution, extremely resilient. Dragon scales are legendary. The immunity to, kind of poisons and stuff, though they don't really have any real immunity to poison. Dragons usually do. But the blue dragon specifically does have a damage immunity to lightning, which makes sense.
Given it
Oh,
shoots
okay.
lightning, yeah.
Right. They have, so the intelligence of 16 is quite significant. An average person would have about 10. A average beast, would have like the 1 to 3s area. A dog would be
wisdom.
around like 4 or 5. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah,
And
out of
naturally,
16
those
there.
numbers go
Right.
up as a character. So
Right.
those numbers for an adult blue dragon, those stay for an adult blue dragon, or is there like a next stage? per
There
se?
is after adult, there's ancient, and then you have what is it? I forget what it's called. I'm drawing a blank.
I don't know.
You say
Uh,
decrepit.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
Decrepit.
What'd you say?
Elder?
It might be elder. Damn it. Where's
I'm not sure.
Sorry. It is ancient and great worm. Haha, worms. There we go. Yeah, worm would be kind of the final stage for a dragon.
It's worming its way into a coffin.
Basically, that would basically be like
It does paint a picture.
100, like maybe like 10,000 years.
So you weren't really that far off from decrepit.
Yeah, I mean they are. They'd be considered like old as fuck. Like,
So
They don't pick to
Naturally,
the skies
adult-
very often anymore.
adult
Yeah.
version of the dragon is the healthiest and most daunting
Mhm.
/ intimidating.
yeah, that'd be like, I wouldn't say in its prime, because technically as ancient would be, because as they age they get stronger, but they're also
Yeah.
older.
That raises a bit of a question. Can an ancient dragon body an adult dragon, or vice
Oh,
versa?
yes, absolutely.
Oh,
So just to
absolutely.
kind of give you a real scale here, I'll give you the challenge rating, and Orion can explain that to you. So the Adult Blue Dragon is a 16 challenge rating, and I'll go ahead and
Okay.
pull up an ancient here.
Just so you know, CR or challenge rating it's kind of it's not the most accurate thing in
Yeah,
D&D, but it's a rough estimation. It's like this would be a half decent fight for a party of 4 level 16 characters.
And starting at level 1, how long does it take to get to level 16 generally? Or does it really depend?
That really depends. I mean, the first obstacle to getting to level 16 is keeping your group together long enough to get past level 5.
Does a lot of death happen in these games?
Yes, but the that's not the issue. The issue is keeping your group from falling apart during that time.
It's so easy. It's so easy to fall apart.
It is. I've been in so many games that have fallen apart by the third session. And sometimes it's just a matter of the DM decided that they weren't mentally fit to continue the game. And it's just like, I have to wonder, like, if after 3 attempts at running a game, you...
Okay. All right.
Maybe don't try to get my hopes up like that, toying with my emotions.
So, to give you a comparison, a Adult Blue Dragon is a 16 CR. Very, very powerful,
Okay, yeah.
That's a creature level able to take on a party, 4 or 5 people of level 16 or so,
Yeah.
Monster. An Ancient Blue Dragon is CR 23. That is like low tier god level. A Tarask is a CR 30.
CR 30.
Yeah.
Just for clarification on that, the max level of a party is 20.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
All right.
So that's like the level cap in D&D?
Right.
Yeah, the level cap is 20. A lot of people like to go, go beyond level 20. It's like, if you would level up beyond level 20, you get what's called a boon, which is just kind of like a special thing, a special effect or ability, or something interesting. But it's not like you're not raising stuff up that much more. These would be considered epic level campaigns where everything is universally god tier, effectively, because each tier of gameplay is kind of its own thing. Like tier 1 is levels 1 to 5, your local heroes, and then tier 2 is kind of like, okay, you're more renowned, like heroes of the region. And then after you get past level 10, you're in tier 3, because that goes from 10 to 15. And tier 3 is like, dude, you're heroes of not only the country, but like other countries know about you. You got that much renown.
You're powerful, like you're world known at this point.
Yeah, people around the world have heard of you. And then
15 to 20 is god tier.
It's
god
like
tier, but like legendary hero.
Legendary. Like you're a household name. Everybody has heard of you.
Yeah, they're telling myths and stories about your deeds.
Yeah, like most of your deeds are at this point are just like people have made shit up and it sounds legit. And realistically, it's what you're capable of doing isn't far off from what they're talking about.
All right, like
if
Hercules,
anything, the legends are downplaying it.
Oh yeah, like Hercules, for example, would have been a level 20.
Okay, kind of like Fable on the Xbox.
Right.
Start off not very significant, and then you just grow to be this powerful individual.
Exactly. Right.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. I'm about it.
You build the cloud.
So dragons, bad idea. Ancient dragon, really bad idea.
Yeah, basically. Boil it all down. Don't fuck with an ancient dragon. But yeah, to go kind of finish up their abilities here, they do have the normal claw and tail attack. As I mentioned a little bit earlier of their kind of presence, they have an ability called Frightful Presence. Each creature of the dragon's choice that is within 120 feet of the dragon and aware of it must succeed on a DC 17 Wisdom saving throw or become frightened for 1 minute. Creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. If the creature's saving throw is successful, the creature is immune to the frightful presence for the next 24 hours.
Wow. So
So literally fear just by being around it.
Yeah.
Blue Dragon's got that intimidate.
Yeah.
Is that just a dragon ability in general, or is that a
All dragons
specific
have it.
blue?
They all have it.
That is fascinating. So speed,
It is a
intimidation, power.
Right.
Yeah, that's the namesake.
And then we
I
get
would've
into
named
the
it Dungeons and Dragons
bread
too.
and butter, the lightning breath. The dragon exhales lightning in a 90-foot line that is 5 feet wide. Each creature in that line must make a DC 19 dexterity saving throw, taking 12 d10 lightning damage on a failed save, half as much on a success.
So
Yeah,
I get
that's
a
the
lot.
power of an upcast lightning bolt right there.
my last question would be about blue dragons. Is what's their story canonically? Like, what are they doing right now?
They would just be kind of like chilling in their lairs, hunting,
So all
watching over their
dragons really
territory.
keep to themselves in that manner.
Yeah, for the most
Socialize,
part.
but within their means. Okay.
Yeah, for the most part. There's some, like, chromatics are usually the ones that are more wildish, you could say. They're still social, but within, themselves mostly.
I guess what I'm saying is they don't have any like political issues or anything like that.
Not really, no. Not so much.
Except for the ones that want to.
Yeah, if they want to, if they have their own intentions.
Right.
Yeah,
and
like-
that doesn't stick with any particular race.
No.
Green dragons are very fond of political intrigue and controlling things as like a shadow government type figure.
Right. Like I could see like blue dragons getting into that because they do have that manipulative nature.
Yeah, like they might do it as a hobby, not as a way of getting clout.
Yeah. Just like in their spare time because they can. Like
Yeah. It's like a green dragon might do it because how they hoard things is like influence and people and subjugation. And a blue dragon might do it because they think it's fun and want to flex on their green dragon neighbor.
Right.
Yeah.
So they really have fun amongst themselves. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah. And what's really fun is the metallic dragons are especially known to kind of hide amongst society, because they are able to kind of polymorph and transform themselves into
Yeah, they get a base ability for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like silver dragons specifically, they kind of have this innate desire to live a human life, to live a life to its end, quote, quote, die, live a new life, That's kind of like their thing. They like that.
Yeah, silver dragons are known for being the most benevolent of dragons, which is pretty cool. Like, they're effectively the paladins of the dragon world.
Yeah, it's even known that, like, if a town is kind of renowned or, well known, they may have, like, a silver dragon be their protector, legendary warrior who fights their battles and keeps them safe.
So I'm guessing they're one of the most communicative.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're easy to talk to and stuff.
Yeah, they're pretty chill usually.
Okay,
Yeah.
They're like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, they're very interested and they kind of fully immerse themselves into the lives. Like, for the most part, they don't even know that they're a different person.
You grow the spuds? Tell
It's
me
really
about
cool.
it.
I wonder if you're confusing steel dragons with silver dragons.
No, I think they both do it. 'Cause I know silvers, they kind of wipe their memory when their life restarts.
That's steel dragons.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty
Uh-oh,
sure.
Here come the comment section.
Oh no!
Excuse me.
Why do these people have a podcast? They don't know what they're talking about.
This Orion guy don't know shit.
I'm gonna look it up.
The only thing we can do is Google.
Yeah, I think that does pretty much end my segment on the blue dragon here.
Nice. I feel very informed. That was actually a lot of. I didn't know they had a form of formal society that is utterly fascinating. Actually.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to think
Guys,
about sometimes. They got their own shit going on. They're not like us.
Well, they'd have to have some form of a society. I mean, at least for mating purposes, but for the most part, chromatic dragons don't like to deal with other dragons in general.
I mean, no offense to any dragon fans out there, but I just thought they were feral. I didn't think they
Depends on the
I
setting.
thought they were just like, rah.
They
Just like,
Murlocs.
rah.
Yeah, here we go. So silver dragons do not feel the need to live for a strict social structure. They are most content to live as honestly as possible. They prefer to take the guise of kind and elderly humanoids, but very attractive and young humanoids. Yeah, they look like they just like to chill with people.
Yeah, that's generally it.
Oh,
I
here we
really
go.
like them because they're really good if you want to make a kind of a heroic faction. Like, say you're running a evil campaign, right? And you need a good, like, really goody two-shoes faction to oppose your evil players. A faction that is run with a silver dragon at the head of it.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
And very likely too. They would do it just because they like to be kind of those advocates of justice, you know.
Now, are the more social-based dragons weaker than the more attack-based ones?
Not usually.
Or are they all
No,
like,
they're
around the
about-
same?
Yeah, they're
Kind of
all
depends.
around the same.
Okay, so each one offers its own little strengths and weaknesses based on how you can, like,
Right.
talk to it, persuade it, etc. Okay.
Right, yeah. You know, they will kind of have their natural weaknesses that may conflict with another dragon type, you know. That kind of gives them that advantage.
Yeah. Honestly, you can really, like, if you want to get some players feeling like they're out of their element, you could have a couple of dragons going at it, and all of a sudden, y'all are stuck in the middle of this, and there's, like, breath attacks
have-
going
oh,
in
man.
every which way.
I
There
can
was-
only imagine.
I remember
First
being in
You've
boss.
got the fire, you've got the lightning. Jesus.
Yeah. I remember being in this session where us as the players kind of got in this fight with this guy who turned out to be a dragon in disguise. So, like, we had someone else kind of come up who was a hidden dragon, and they started going at it. And, like, everybody around them was getting bodied. Like, they were transforming
Lord.
all over the place.
The worst
Blasting off
kind
their
of
breath
domino
attacks.
setup.
Yeah. One of our players was like, I'm going to go help them. Got killed. Like, it was crazy.
Got killed.
Now, hear me out. Dragon turf wars, but, like, their
Yeah.
turf wars are fought with their own gangs, because, you know,
Would
they
happen.
think it's funny.
It
Fuck
would
yeah.
definitely happen. Sorry, I ran extra long on the deep dive this week. Dragons are.
I know, it was
deep
fascinating.
topic.
I should hope it was no problem to the fans, but I, as a uninformed D&D coming up, it was actually a lot of fun.
I think personally,
Yeah.
dragons are probably one of my favorite topics to talk about.
I
I've
have
always
an
been
entire
a huge
book for them.
dragon
They're
nerd.
just they're that fucking cool, dude.
As a kid, I was.
They're
a big
dragons.
Dragon nerd. Who doesn't love dragons, man?
I mean, there's a reason Skyrim is one of the most popular Elder Scrolls games, but that's
Yeah.
extremely off topic.
Modding?
No, there we go.
Yeah, that's what makes D&D and Skyrim so cool. The mods.
I think with that, we could take a quick break and we'll move into the Superfy and news segment with Orion.
Boom.
Ahoy there! Yes, you! The one wearing the limited edition, nerdy franchise-related shirt. Do you like meeting in taverns with names like the Leaky Wench and the Wounded Willy? Do you regularly spend time with unintelligent barbarians or antisocial rogue assassins? And do you have a friend who always insists on being DM and making you last in initiative because you forgot to take snacks? Then you're in the right place. Join Sam and Orion every week for Dungeons and Talkshows, where they'll have monster deep dives, special guests, and spotlight homebrew creations made by the community. The boys are here to educate and entertain in all areas of role-playing games. Whether you're a new player or a hardened veteran, we are your people. Even the unintelligent, morons, and dunderheads can all enjoy and learn from our discussions. So come and join us on Dungeons and Talkshows on YouTube and all the usual podcasting apps. You won't regret it, but there's Then again, we're nerds, so what do we know?
Well, I only have one news thing to check in on this week, and honestly, I don't even know how relevant that is.
Yeah. That's cool. We're pretty much at the end here now. Got about 30 minutes left.
Fair enough.
News is news.
Are you hitting the bit?
We have to hit the bit. Come on. We're all ready. We all know the bit. Come on, let's just do the
We all
bit.
know our roles.
We all know our roles.
Generic realm, lots of fun, excellent.
Very anticipated and ready for some homebrew. I present to y'all from our good friend of the show, the Amethyst Dragon, the ammunition of the Healing's Touch.
All right. Hit us with it.
So this is ammo that can be used as an arrow, a bolt, or a bullet. Common, easy to get your hands on. Now, the striking portion of this magical ammunition is carved from a high-quality piece of colorless quartz, etched with a tiny holy symbol associated with the deity of health or protection. It has been specially blessed to carry healing magic to a distant recipient. You can make an attack roll to launch this ammunition as part of casting Cure Wounds, causing the crystal to glow with dim golden light until the end of your turn. If the target you choose is friendly to you, you have advantage on the attack roll. If you hit the target, it takes no damage from the bolt and instead heals from the spell as if you had touched it. You may choose to use your dexterity mod in place of your spellcasting ability modifier for this casting. If you score a critical hit with this ammunition, you double the number of dice you roll for the amount healed by the spell. If you roll a nat 1 on the attack roll die, the crystal breaks and the ammunition loses its magic.
Okay.
1 minute after you use the ammunition to carry the spell for you, if it did not break, the crystal begins to glow with white light, illuminating a 10-foot radius with dim light. The glow fades after 5 minutes. If you launch this ammunition without using it to deliver a Cure Wound spell, it functions as a normal piece of ammunition and has a 50% chance of breaking upon impact with the target or terrain.
All right.
So can you accidentally, it botches mid-shot and accidentally shoot your teammate?
I mean, not likely,
it's possible.
I guess. Yeah, I guess it's possible, but not likely.
It depends on positioning.
Yeah, positioning and the role,
And you said you can apply this to any form of firearm bullet, right?
Yeah.
Bullet, arrow,
It's basically like a
etc.
little quartz piece. So
And does it level up via upgrades, or does it just level up as you level up?
it seems that you can use it as a conduit for casting Cure Wounds. So, from what I can tell, if you upcast Cure Wounds,
It'll
then,
segue. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So
I
this
don't
is
see
really
why
good
Neat.
for a bard, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Something I happen to be looking into, yeah.
Yeah, because all of a sudden, the reason that Healing Word is so good is that you're able to cast it remotely. I mean, there are other reasons Healing Word's just amazing, like, being a bonus action. But the cool thing about this is you're able to get that range that you're not usually able to get with Cure Wounds for the higher die of healing. I mean, sure, there's a chance you miss, but still, I like that. Being able to heal from 120 feet away, that's not
that's
bad.
really good. You could have your snipers kind of popping off heels way in the back.
Yeah, just have them
Yeah.
with the old bow and arrow.
That's crazy.
Shoot
Yeah,
'em,
I like that a lot.
ellipses. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
like imagine you are a rogue and you dip a level into cleric, then all of a sudden you could use guidance to give yourself an extra D4 on your attack rolls at that big distance. wait, no. Does it work on attack rolls? I can't remember.
I don't
Uh,
think so. I don't remember exactly.
No, I haven't used guidance in so long, but I know you can add a D4 to skill checks. At any rate, you'd be able to, effectively snipe heal people.
I wish that was in Honor Among Thieves. It's like the healer goes to shoot one of the dudes. He's like, "Oh, why'd you do that for?" And he starts feeling better. He's like, "What the hell was in that?"
What the hell is that? Get me another. Get me another.
Oh, I just watched that today. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Did you?
I
Did you
don't
have
Still have
think
not
there was a
seen it.
healer in the party, though, because, well, I mean, there was the druid, but she didn't heal anything. She was just shape-shifting.
It was a they really shot for. Was it a precon? Or was that like its own original story?
I think it was its own story.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked it. It had good pacing. It felt like a real party. There was a bit of humor, but like a lot of people criticized it for having too much humor, and I'm just like, no, it was about the right amount. I think it held itself pretty seriously for the most part. And like some of the humor came from like realistic situations.
Right, yeah.
Like when they were using Speak with Dead, and they're like, okay, we can only ask the person 5 questions. So the first time they talked to this corpse that they took the time to dig up, they kind of get fucked over by talking to each other and then asking questions that weren't addressed to the corpse, which ended up wasting their questions with the corpse.
I wonder if Wizards of the Coast was actually with them in the studio when they produced the movie.
They were involved big time.
I'm just imagining scenarios like, no, that's a stupid question. Are you really that stupid? And the corpse is just like, I am not stupid.
No, it's like,
Exactly.
yes, he really is that stupid. Then goes back to being corpse.
That's clever. No, wait, we only asked 2 questions. Well, no, you didn't.
Honor Among Thieves was made by Paramount Studios. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. A nice big blockbuster for the D&D fandom.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
and last night I had watched the Mario movie, so 2 movies back to back that were very big on references and Easter eggs. Lots of fun.
Nice.
Yeah,
I watched the No Way Home the other night.
Oh my
How'd you like
God.
that?
It was pretty good. I feel like I'd seen it before, but I don't know. An odd deja vu as I watched it, you know?
That's why I don't like watching movies these days, because I'll watch a movie and be like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm like,
I saw this like 5 years ago. And then I'll predict like half the plot.
right, yeah,
And-
exactly.
All
I started
been
predicting
done.
stuff, and I was like, have I seen this?
Yeah, and then
Anyway.
I'll look over to my wife and be like, I specifically remember that scene. And it's just like, oh, this just came out like a month ago. What the fuck you mean? We saw this a couple years ago.
Right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
guess
hard
I'll
to
go
find
ahead
anything
and,
new anymore. Originality is
Yeah.
being stretched a little thin.
Definitely true.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's a matter of originality or deja vu. And at this point, I'm too afraid to ask.
Yes. Alright, so I
The
guess I'll
answer
go
is
ahead and
always
move into my homebrew here.
Yes, absolutely, actually.
Alright. I bring you guys today. And oh god, I broke it. Ah!
Well, that's the end of it.
I bring you a magic item called Raven Shadow. It is a very rare necklace.
All right.
So,
What
The
do we do with
Raven-
such-
so the Raven Shadow necklace is it gives you Raven sight. I'm sorry. The Raven sight necklace
Raven
is a common
sight.
raven skull, intricately described with arcane runes lashed with simple leather straps. So it's a raven skull on a necklace, tied with a leather band with arcane runes kind of carved into it.
So it's like an arcane focus.
We'll find out. So, Raven Sight. 3 times per day as an action, the wearer can call a spectral raven from the necklace. The raven rises from the necklace as a shadow form and coalesces into a semi-corporeal creature nearly indistinguishable from an actual raven. The raven becomes your eyes and ears while using this ability. You can no longer perceive your own senses, becoming blind, deaf, and incapacitated. But your own perception through the beast includes any spectral senses that the beast may have. You may end the link early using your action to regain your own senses. When this happens, the form of the raven dissipates into shadow. Any damage to the raven also causes it to dissipate into shadow, ending the ability.
So it's like the Assassin's Creed ring.
I guess.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How
Also,
how rare is it?
It is a very rare item.
Not in your typical bag of holding.
Yeah, not in your typical item. This would be rather rare. Maybe you'd have to craft it yourself, or maybe you buy it from a magic shop or something. It also has
Buy it
an
from a
ability
thing.
locked behind level and attunement. So, at 6th level, you gain Raven Shape. After attuning, the constant use of the Raven Sight necklace has created a link between the wearer and the shadow. You can use your action to magically assume the semi-corporeal shape of the raven. You can use this feature twice and it lasts for 1 hour unless you use your action to end the ability or suffer damage and fail a concentration check. You regain expended uses when you finish a short or long rest. The Shadow Raven has all the stats and abilities of a common raven except hit points. In Raven Sight, any damage dissipates the form. In Raven Shape, the raven effectively has the wearer's hit points and dissipates if you take damage and fail the check. That's pretty cool. You can assume the shape of a raven.
That's actually really
I
useful.
really like that because,
That's pretty cool.
as you might know, Sam, ravens and crows are some of my favorite birds. Now, that might make me kind of a generic bro, but like, I just really like ravens and crows.
Man, I fuck with vultures a lot.
That's
You-
definitely up there one. I love fucking vultures. I love them
Yeah,
because,
you know what? Vultures are pretty close to condors, and condors are badass.
they're just interesting because like it's a bird that can defend itself so well, but it's not overly segregated to the air. It's not afraid of being on the ground, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Usually they try to migrate to nests or something like that, but vultures, nah, they chill.
Sam, what's your opinion on like allowing different subspecies of Aarakocra, like a vulture Aarakocra? Doesn't that sound cool as fuck?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, if they do the same thing with Tabaxi,
Yeah, like
they kind of turn Tabaxi to any kind of animalistic race.
I'm sorry.
Like-
I'm sorry. An
yeah.
Aarakocra?
Yeah,
they are a bird race.
avian
Oh,
humanoid.
okay.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah,
of like the Tabaxi are kind of like the animal, like feline, mammalian creatures.
They're like
Aarakocra
Khajiit.
Aarakocra would be like the avian species.
That sounds like some really good concept art.
Oh
Yeah, it's like you've played Breath of the Wild, haven't you?
At this point, if you're not a Nintendo fan, who hasn't?
Well, it's kind of like Rivali. Like you get those bird people,
Okay, yeah, sure.
and Aarakocra are exactly that. And I love the concept of having different subspecies of Aarakocra, like a vulture Aarakocra, or maybe like a robin. It kind of leaves a lot for your descriptions of unique avian characters as a DM to just kind of rely on those kind of things. Like, oh, hey, this is Hayes Feather. He's kind of a blue jay Aarakocra.
yeah.
And I'm assuming that there's a ring that, much like the Raven ring that Star mentioned, you're able to transform into an Aarakocra as well.
Transforming into other races are a little different. You usually could do that via like disguise self abilities,
Okay,
or
yeah,
illusionary abilities.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Until you get into things like changelings, where they can kind of naturally transform into other humanoid races.
I've played changelings in the past.
Oh yeah, they're cool.
Oh yeah, they are.
Wait, does that mean that changelings are like the secret flying race?
I mean, I don't think they gain like the physical characteristics of what they turn into. Like, I don't think they could fly.
No, nothing
that
we ever
makes
turned
sense,
into
'cause-
actually gave me like that such ability.
Oh yeah. Oh, maybe cool.
Yeah. It was always sort of go with what fits your character, go with like what else is in your party. It's situational. What you decide.
At the
on
very
your
least,
abilities.
I would probably roll personally, like if you have a changeling in your game, if they want to turn into like an aircocker or something, they're not going to be, adept with those wings. Sure, maybe you could fly, but you're going to be horrible at it.
Yes.
At the very least, you're probably not carrying another person.
Yeah, absolutely not. Like, you're going to be the worst flyer an aircocker's ever seen. Like,
Like the bee from not the bee, the ant from A Bug's Life.
exactly, yeah.
You're an
Yeah,
insect,
like-
you are kind.
Yeah, it's like, what's wrong with this guy?
You'd be flying around like a toddler.
This guy missed some
That's
important
funny.
classes.
Would the same thing happen with the Raven Ring? Do you have a hard time flying with that, or is it more of a
Raven Ring?
simulation?
Right.
I mean,
Raven
I don't
Shadow.
know if that item exists. I mean, in terms of the Raven necklace.
Yeah.
Turning into the Raven, you would assume the form of the Raven.
That's
It's kind of like
So-
like wild shape in that sense. You kind of become that creature in nature.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so flying would be just second nature at that point.
Right. Where changelings are kind of doing it via like deceit,
Yeah,
Yeah, really.
tricky.
Oh, but
in the
is there
benefits.
like a learning curve to that? Once you get it, you gotta kind of
I could see
learn.
yeah, I could see
how to
so.
do it.
If they could see a situation like if a changeling were to infiltrate like an Aarakocran society somehow, and like slowly like learn their ways, they could probably pass.
That
Sounds
sounds
like a-
very interesting. And honestly, I don't think I've ever heard of a DM like implementing a full Eric Cochran society. Like a lot
Yeah,
of
they're
people
definitely
complain
underused.
about their players having the ability to fly early on in a game as a problem. Well, what if you put together a thing where your players end up in an Eric Cochran run region, and the ability not having the ability to fly is actually a problem?
Yeah, it's like a detriment to your ability to.
Because you have to rely on others,
Yeah,
Yes.
which would also
And like as
keep
you go through the campaign, the magic items or spells that give you the ability to fly, like that's essential just to be able to keep up
Right.
with your party members that can fly. And it's kind of like how like if you have a sea-based campaign, a character that's playing
Yeah.
a race like a Triton has an innate advantage at being able to swim better.
It's very, very true.
Oh, please. If ever we do that, let's have someone who's afraid of water.
Yes.
Yeah, having a Titan with or Triton with like what's it called, aquaphobia is like a
Yes.
classic flaw.
Yes.
I think Ruby had a character like that, where it's just like the dude's abilities were all water based, but he had a water phobia.
That's awful.
That's hilarious, though.
Yeah.
Like, how are you gonna deal with that?
They
Yeah,
gave him a
like-
character arc too, where he had to overcome it. And I'm like, okay, that's all right. I like to see people overcoming childhood trauma, especially as a person who has come close to drowning literally more than a dozen times.
Oh, gosh.
Damn, bro.
I've had
Take a
an
hint.
experience.
Take a hand, stay out of the
There's people
water.
hugging that water.
You're clearly a fire type, bro.
Dude, I once had a dock collapse on top of me.
Bro, that's a sign.
Yeah,
Like-
water don't like you.
I've
That's
had
a
a current pull me under before.
Me
Same.
It was
too.
bad. I went out way too far. I was being stupid. And it was
Me
pretty
too.
strong. Luckily, it pushed me closer to land.
There you go.
Moving on here, I think you ready to move into your Scriptify of the week?
Ah, yes. Descriptify. Descriptions. Well, I got the Descriptify of the week here, and the word is, this is the most lawyer word I know, ramshackle.
See, I know ramshackle as in quality when it comes to things like Ark Survival Evolved. You know what I mean? Like, you got a ramshackle piece of gear, it's pretty decent.
Yeah, because it means poorly constructed or kept up with the, barely anything, rickety. There's kind of like disintegrations in the construction. It's just fucked, and I love it as like I associate it with legalese, because I can just picture like a 1950s Southern lawyer pacing back and forth in the court with his white suit. And, Your Honor, this here court case is nothing more than a ramshackle affair, which I will prove without a shadow of a doubt. My client is innocent.
Damn.
It works.
I'm convinced.
It's that mode.
Yeah, ramshackle. Fucking love it. But
not guilty, Your
like
Honor.
You said,
man's clearly based.
It's one of those things where you can clearly use it as a way to describe, like, say, a goblin stronghold. It's filled with ramshackle structures, barely held together with rope and sticks.
That's fun.
Or obviously you wouldn't use it to describe like kobold construction, because kobolds are good at that shit.
You could also use this to describe someone's drip. They out here looking like garbage. Like, man, got that ramshackle jacket on. Get that shit out of here, boy.
Got that ramshackle drip.
I got these dragon scale chainmail armor, man. I'm an adventurer, man. Get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? You got me? You feel me?
Oh man, he's walking around with the dull chain and ramshackle.
I got this raven necklace. Caw-caw, bitch.
Yeah, that's a real raven's head. It ain't even magical. Plucked its feathers this morning.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, but that's the general idea. Like, it's a fun, whimsical word. I feel like a lot of DMs would benefit from just throwing out fun, whimsical words to their players when they're describing things, because way too often we kind of end up repeating ourselves with general descriptions. It's like, how many times can you describe something as poorly put together?
Yeah, that's true.
And
can't just call everything garbage.
Yeah, until you just garbage is technically describing it.
Can't just call everything garbage,
Exactly. Like you got to shake it up.
Describe it for me. It's garbage.
Garbage.
A little garbage.
Oh no, my garbage is.
Learned French. I'm not doing fromage.
Je pense je dois suis.
I would like to roll to seduce, please.
I like French. It's like wiping your ass with silk.
He said we didn't have much news for this week.
We really didn't. Like the most I found was a little thing about the Clerk and Dagger tabletop, which seems to be inspired by Ocean's 11. And it seems to be like, if you ever see Ocean's 11, kind of a heisty type situation.
It's one of those like rob a bank movies, right?
I believe so. And it kind of takes a lot of gameplay inspiration from Blades in the Dark.
Interesting.
I've heard a lot of good things about Blades in the Dark. If I remember correctly, I think that's the system that has like you do a heist, and then like when you get to a kind of something where there'd be a hitch, you kind of like make a roll, and then there's a flashback to how you did a thing before.
Interesting.
Yeah, like flashback things. Like, oh, we already planned for this. And then sometimes it goes good, sometimes it doesn't.
All right, cool.
I like the name of it though, Clerk and Dagger.
Man, it makes me think of Cloak and Dagger, that old like Marvel show.
I didn't know if that was a spin on it. Yeah,
Oh man, that's what I immediately thought. I was like, oh man, Cloak and Dagger, I love this show. Like,
that's a great
Dude,
spin. Yeah, I can't wait to hear
Dagger
about
is
it.
straight a like you can build Dagger easily in D&D because that's just a what's the term for it? I want to say Psy Blade. Soul Knife. That's the one. The Rogue in 5th edition has a Soul Knife subclass, and in 3.5 edition, Soul Knife was just a class.
isn't there a Soul Knife monk?
I think that might have been what they a Unearthed Arcana, like maybe that was the original intention.
Yeah, I think I remember reading about that. I think I made a Soul Knife monk once. Oh, I remember my Mantid was a Soul Knife monk.
Ah, okay. So like maybe a multi-class then?
Maybe.
Yeah, Soul Knives are really cool because they just summon psionic blades and they
Yeah, that
go
shit's
straight
cool.
to Stab Town.
Yeah, like, I really like the idea of having a Mantid character. He has like the blade arms. He elongates them with the psionic energy.
Dude, shit's cool.
Oh yeah.
No, that's actually a great idea. I love it. Clerk and Dagger.
Yeah, it says here in the article, it's a upcoming role-playing game that sees the players becoming a team of rogue accountants in the fictional city of Dis. The city is controlled by a group of corrupt monstrous magnates who have plundered Dis through the use of soul coins, strange artifacts.
This is the city of hell. Sorry, that's my lore brain going off. That's
well,
this is this is the city of hell.
Okay, so you got some context because I was kind of thrown off by that.
Yes.
So strange artifacts that originate from the eyes of an immortal being known as the Empress of Thieves, tasked with carrying out all manner of tasks from assassination to sabotage. The players will need to plan their audit jobs carefully if they're going to get in and out alive. So right away, this is already giving off Acquisitions Incorporated vibes.
True.
Players will be able to take their tabletop RPG characters by... Oh, not take, make. I'm dumb. By placing points into a collection of key skills: slang, sneak, stunt, sleight of hand, search, study, sabotage, silver tongue, streetwise. So, you know, their own little take on a bunch of skills.
Right.
Which they'll be able to improve as they progress through the game. However, players have chosen to place their points will determine how to accomplish their...
Do they do the point array the same way as normal D&D?
It seems like it's more in line with how 3.5 was, where you put your points where you want them.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, like if you want to be good at a skill, you just put a bunch of points in it.
Okay.
Self-choice. That's always a nice feature in a game.
Yeah, the players will have access to a feat or magic trick acquired through a blood oath made between clerks.
Okay.
So, bureaucracy at work there.
Everyone's favorite.
Right? The gameplay is split into two main phases in a similar fashion to the aforementioned Blades in the Dark. The first phase is the prep work, which sees the players gathering information about their chosen target as their foe's lair. Players can trade in any soul coins they have acquired in order to gain additional intel from the info broker or magic items from the magic item shop. Additional soul coins can be taken from beneath the Empress of Thieves' throne. However, this will force the player or character to take on a debt. Players embark on a second phase of gameplay, which is their audit. During the audit, the players will recount how their clerks had infiltrated the foe's lair and taken them down.
Cool.
So, like the flashback thing. The power granted to them by their collection of soul coins will ensure that a foe is too powerful to be... Am I reading this right? The power granted to them by their collection of soul coins will ensure that a foe is too powerful to be faced directly. Instead, the players will move throughout the layer in search of soul coins,
Okay,
with each
interesting.
one collecting incurring debt unto the foe and weakening them for the final blow.
Oh, I understand. Okay. So the more soul coins you have, the weaker the main big boy will be.
Get them
Okay.
coins.
Interesting. Okay, so it's like you're actively trying to weaken the big boss so that you have a chance to take him on.
Okay, so
Like,
each time you collect one, it incurs a debt on the foe.
Mhm.
This sounds like the IRS got together to make a tabletop. Like the IRS heard that people are really into D&D, and they had to kind of like, our tax dollars have to go somewhere.
Like, how do we get our piece?
Throughout
I
the
like
game,
it.
players can attempt to embezzle soul coins from the. Yep,
Let's
definitely the
go!
IRS.
Embezzling. They've
I love
added
it.
my kind of
They
D&D.
topped it. They topped it right off by naming it
Hell
Clerk
yeah.
and Dagger.
I always said we needed more corporate espionage in my D&D games.
Well, you know what? Now you have a full D&D experience.
Oh hell yeah! It's just
I
what
love
I
Well,
it.
wanted.
a lot
I
of
love
people
it.
really like that kind of gameplay. So if you all are into something like that, then this is definitely kind of the Office meets Blades in the Dark.
Yeah, I can see it. The Office meets.
oh god.
With a little bit of Ocean's 11, like you.
We got Jim Halpert fighting demons and discs.
The Mortal Kombat version of The Office.
Yeah, right.
It's interesting.
Oh no, it's absolutely fascinating. That's actually
Yeah,
some
that
really
sounds
good
good.
news to hear. I hope that maybe possibly within the Nerd Militia we could stream some kind of a D&D session of this, because it
Yeah, that'd
actually
be
sounds
really
very interesting.
Yeah, well, the Kickstarter crowdfunding thing that they got going on went live on the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
Basic pledge is like about 19 bucks, or I think that's 15 pounds. I'm not the best with foreign currency.
Pounds is like UK or British. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're all
What?
American.
Well,
We're
actually,
players.
no. That currency isn't used anymore.
It's not.
Pounds.
What?
Isn't it euros?
No,
Yeah.
they left the European Union.
Oh, just
Yeah,
like
You
a
that?
are
few
in
years
the
ago, it was a.
Please
Yeah,
let
they
us know.
left. It was a whole thing. Brexit.
Oh yeah, right.
All right.
If you are a
I'm a little
British
behind.
native or something, please tell us what kind of currency your stuff is called.
And if you call in, please lay on the accents. We love it.
We
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
Americans can't. Americans can't get enough of foreign accents.
Yeah, you know, if I needed one thing in my life, it was a British person yelling at me, telling me how dumb I am. So I would appreciate that very much.
Damn, that sounds like a way to make a living.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, you can get a digital copy of this with a. I'm going to assume 8-pound pledge or $10.
Okay, cool.
I'm assuming it's pounds.
Yes, I believe so.
But yeah, that sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I always like they take a kind of a new direction to these D&D modules.
That's what I really like about it, is it's very free-forming in the aspects of, you could tell, and based on this article alone, you could tell you could make any kind of story as far as your imagination can stretch, and that's what I really appreciate about D&D. The more I delve into it, is its potential. Its potential to create some really, really good story beats. Like Clerk and Dagger, I would have never thought of that.
Oh, that's good.
I'm wondering if like the joke there is like, we're going to rob this city.
As a
We
clerk,
run this city.
Like they're wording it as the city of Dis. Well, what about Dis City? You know?
That's the name of the city. The city's name is this.
Yeah, we're dissing this city. That's just okay.
I think
Right now they're sitting at 285 backers with 22 days to go. They've already surpassed their pledge goal, which was like just over 3K. They're at over 5K right now. So keep it up, guys.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Just let you know how strong the community is.
It really is. I love how much all these Kickstarters are doing these days. Like, it's great stuff. It just goes to show that as soon as the OGL debacle happened at the start of the year, like, small-time creators are rising up, and I love it.
Oh, yes. I love it.
Well, you're a writer, so what would you like to see, like, if you were to create something for a tabletop game, like just off the top of your head?
Oh, goodness. Oh.
Asking the big question.
I'm not good at coming up with things just off the cuff. I overplan, I overanalyze, I am very much a perfectionist. Oh, let's see.
I feel that.
Oh god, now I feel I'm on the spot a little bit.
I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. I'm getting really caught up in what the TheNerdMilitia is doing right now. I like the ideas that are rolling in. It's got my head spinning a lot of the time. Oh, goodness.
Yeah. We do a lot. The Paltira source book is actually getting more content put together. Frokage has been contributing to that, and it's good to see that he's getting in on it, you know?
Yeah, I'm excited to see how that turns out.
I don't think he's actually played a game of D&D, but he's gung-ho to create and write for it. So he's got the spirit.
I like that. A lot of people, they're being more open about their own creativity. And in this day and age, it's so much easier than it used to be. It's still like a mindset that I have that this is an impossible goal for myself, and it's not impossible anymore.
Exactly. Like, can you imagine how many amazing ideas have just died?
Exactly.
Because somebody thought that they couldn't do it. Like, too many good ideas have died that way, and that's kind of why I started the TheNerdMilitia initially, because I don't want all the good ideas. Well,
you gotta speak up.
Not to say that every idea that I have is good, but there's got to be some that are worth keeping.
Oh, absolutely.
The potentially good ideas, yes.
There have been so many ideas that I have let pass me by just because I didn't think that there was a platform for it.
Exactly.
But it's so much easier to believe now that there's an audience for everything.
Yeah.
There really is.
Any idea, any kind of thought you have, there's people to bounce it off of, and a way to make it a reality.
That's why I'm so excited about this. Like, you asked us earlier to pick a monster, and like it took me a second to think of a good monster for a good game, a good campaign. But you say dragon, and you think, oh, typical. But look at how many different types of dragons there are now.
Yeah.
Like 10 years
ago. Oh, absolutely.
There was so much I didn't know, and now there are just endless options.
Well, that's one of the fun things about D&D. Like, there's been so much compiled lore over the years with all these different things and all these creative people all coming together that it kind of serves as a good template. Like, you don't have to follow it word for word or all lore. Like, you can make your own thing. But as a writer, it kind of seems like you could just take a bunch of things as inspiration. Like, okay, emerald dragons, amethyst dragons, like gem dragons in general, cool as fuck. Metallic dragons, okay, that's recognizable, and each of them have their own traits and natures and things that they hoard that are very different and unique. Like, I was watching that Honor Among Thieves today, and one of the dragons that was really featured in it was a black dragon. Now, I found that amazing because black dragons don't get enough limelight, you know? They got that reverse horn thing, acid breath,
Represent!
and like, exactly. Everyone cares about Smog and his big red dragon having fire breath, and just
Like, he's pretty
I'm
basic.
done. I need to see a little more variety.
I remember the first time I watched that, I was like, okay, so it's a fire-breathing dragon, and he's really big. Yeah.
Like, what else?
Like,
Like,
you watch Vox Machina, they got themselves the first dragon you see, big blue dragon, lightning breath, just tearing shit apart, getting things done.
I said it
And
earlier.
it's just like, okay.
I said it
Dragons
earlier.
is like-
The everyday dragon isn't as terrifying as one that's coming at you
Yeah.
not with fire but lightning. Like, okay,
And what's
Exactly.
even scary about dragons is like dragons are natural mages. They are natural experts in crafting magic. You know what I mean? So not only do you have these gigantic, powerful, breath-having creatures, they can also fire 9th level spells at you.
Yeah, just casual.
Yeah.
I've played in games
They're
where
there,
we've had
of course.
characters that need to develop a sort of a bestiary as the campaign goes on, because one of the conditions was a forgetfulness that was taken over the land, and people, they needed to be able to remember what they had fought, so they know how to fight it in the future.
Ooh.
I like that.
Yes,
That's
it was
cool.
it was something that it just came up in a random pre-game conversation, and we're like, oh, we have to implement this, and it can be implemented very cruelly. It was a lot of fun, but
That
it was
might be a way to kind of get a group kind of consciously trying to fight their own metagaming knowledge.
oh god.
It is always interesting to like have them fight within the rules of the game itself, rather than it being like level based fighting or something.
Yeah,
like
add
that,
an element
where
that
they have
shakes
to,
it up. It goes against the
Yeah,
nature of it.
more difficult than the level itself. Yeah, but I feel like for a D&D game that I would like to start as a DM is something definitely Civil War based, something bad's going on, something,
Ooh.
but it's like a moral gray that like either one could be wrong, either one could be right. It all depends on how you personally feel, but the continent as a whole knows that the people feel a different way, and I would like my group to kind of be ambassadors to maybe creating some type of peace or something.
Interesting. I like it.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of to off track a bit, Final Fantasy, and like how they make very, very complex problem stories. Like usually you think, oh yeah, it's the antagonist, that's the guy we have to hate, so we hate him. But no, in Final Fantasy games, and what I like in also D&D games, they don't have this one set big bad guy enemy that you have a problem with. Sometimes it's a continental civil war, and that's what I'm very interested in getting started into.
I do like that.
Right?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a good note to kind of transition to our end here. Definitely, I think doing like a big bad, people think about like, powerful wizard or something, threatening to take over a town or a continent or something, It doesn't have to be that level of threat. You could amp it up, You could have a dragon threatening to raise a country, You could have eldritch entities coming out from the fucking phlogiston, I don't know. You could really make your creative mind into whatever you want it to be in the world of D&D, baby. Woo!
Absolutely.
endless potential.
No limitations.
And really, what I love about it, I love the creative problems and the creative problem solving.
And seeing how people are going to react in the moment to the challenges set forth by the DM, it's just so inspiring to see how other people's brains are working.
Creative.
It really is. Like, I think I would consider myself to be a problem as a player sometimes with like some of the absurd solutions I come up with. Sam can probably attest to this.
You're definitely a good one.
I have created characters in which my sole purpose was to just create problems for the team. I've created lizard creatures that attack just blindly, and that has gotten me killed by my own team members. I got voted off that.
Well, as long as you're kind of good-natured about it, you know what I mean? Because like,
so you can do that
it's hard,
all in good fun,
you know.
and then it can just go sideways.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have to kind of level with your party about what you're doing, why you're doing
Oh,
it.
yes.
Like, if everyone's in on the joke, then by all means, go right ahead. But I think a lot of people don't remember to kind of make sure that everybody gets the joke. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
yes.
Yes.
And that's how you end up with those RPG horror stories where like someone thought that they were hot shit, but then like everyone was not on the same page.
And it's just chaos from there on.
Very, very true. And I think
I would love to get one of those YouTube people that read off all those RPG horror stories on the show.
I would watch that.
I bet they.
I'm pretty sure they just do like
show-
it's like a bot. You know, they get like the text
Shape.
to speech.
Shaping up to be a very, very good D&D Dungeons and Talkshows Halloween special.
All right. I think if no one has anything else, go ahead and end this episode.
No, special shout out to our Discord, our link tree. Love you guys at Lisbon. Love you guys at YouTube, and we'll see you around.
Hope you guys have a good
I guess
one. If you enjoyed this
before we fully step off, do you two have any like personal things that you want to plug? Like where could people find your writing or art?
Well, she does have an Etsy, as additionally has a Twitter, but most of her promotional stuff, if you want to get a hold of her personally or have special interactions with her to help you get more inspiration if you have any art problems, go ahead and find us on our Discord as well. You'll go ahead and find me on our NerdMilitia TikToks, Twitters, just to interact and hang out with you guys in the groups. You will be seeing more video game related stuff as well as some hilarious TikToks and bits that I'm sure you all loved from Orion and Sam.
Oh yeah.
On another thing, just last minute, I suppose. I want to know, Katie, do you have any? Are you open to taking commissions at all?
I'm open to, definitely ideas. People that like the things that I like. I do like, I like suggestions, especially when it comes to more than just the art pieces themselves, the art processes. I love hearing about what people do to get themselves ready to start something. I'm all for looking for different motivations. And as far as commissions, like, hey, if you're interested in seeing something that I've done, but with different variables, different mediums, by all means, just send me a DM. I like hearing from other people.
All right, that's great.
Yeah,
And look forward to seeing what you come up with in the near future.
Oh, yes, I am exploring all different types of things right now.
Just a little fun fact, the NerdMilitia did approach her for the insignia again. It looks very, very nice. And she's planning on making a new banner soon.
Oh, yes.
So
I'm very, very excited.
Real
about
excited. All right. And with that, everybody have a good
it.
weekend.
Have a good weekend.
bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Dungeons and Talkshows, brought to you by the Nerd Militia. Check us out on Patreon or Discord if you want to support us. And if you want to get more Nerd Militia content, you can follow us on Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, and YouTube. Or really any of the usual podcasting platforms. But as always, we're nerds, so what do we know?